And the book of the week is Hell Has No Exit by J. Lance Gilmer. This one came out in 1976 and it was actually produced by Holloway House. Now, if you're not familiar with Holloway House, they were like the quintessential publisher of Blaxploitation or urban lit. They produced Donald Goines' stuff. They produced Iceberg Slim, but they were huge on sort of giving Black authors exposure. And so a lot of the Blaxploitation paperbacks we'll cover in this series will probably be Holloway House novels. This one is actually it's a great book in the sense when I read Blaxploitation novels or Blaxploitation paperbacks, what I try to do is envision, would this have made a good movie? Could this have been turned into a Blaxploitation movie? And this is definitely one that could have. I mean, it is very gritty, and as you read through it, the scenes, it kind of, as it describes what's going on. So what it's about, it starts off with, you got this brother who rips off a drug dealer to get dope for his girl because, she's fiending for some dope. He robs him, and, of course he does it disguised and all that stuff. But the drug dealer finds out who did it and ultimately tracks him down and kills him. That brother who got killed, one of his men, his homeboys, finds out and tries to exact revenge on the dealer, but things don't work out. And his homeboy gets ultimately killed by dirty cops. And then to add, thicken the plot, per se, the homeboy who got killed by the dirty cops, he's like the brother-in-law of this big time former street dude turned professional baseball player named Mr. T. So now Mr. T comes home and he's in search of the real story of who killed his brother. He starts chasing leads, and, along the way, he's kind of kicking butt as he's trying to get to the story and find out who knows something, because everybody, want to act like they don't know what's going on. So he winds up taking the roughing up a few people to get to the story. And then all throughout this happening, several other dead bodies turn up, whether it's by the cops, whether it's by the drug dealer, whether it's whatever else is going on. So this is all taking place in San Francisco, down in the field bowl, as they would say. And so as all these dead bodies start turning up, you have this reporter who now is interested in the case. So he wants to find out what's going on. And so all of that with, kind of sprinkle in hip dialogue and stuff like that. It's a really cool read. That's the first cover. That's the second cover. Like, one of the nice things, another thing I love about Blaxploitation paperbacks is, just like with Blaxploitation movies, the posters were awesome. With Blaxploitation paperbacks, a lot of the covers are really awesome. And then as they went through re-releases, sometimes they changed covers. So this is like the second cover. That's the original cover. And it's the book itself. So I think, like when I talked about the last book in the first episode, how it's really hard to find and pretty expensive. This one's hard to find, but I think if you can come across a copy, you might only have to pay about 30, $40 for this one. And who knows, maybe be able to get it even cheaper. And the only thing I dislike about this book is it sort of had an anticlimactic ending, because, I was hoping that, as he was looking for the killer of his brother-in-law, I hope he would get some kind of revenge or justice, and that didn't happen. And then, the reporter who kind of was trying to find out what was going on, he never really breaks open the case in and of itself. And then there are a lot of characters in this book that you kind of grew to hate. And I was hoping that they would get their comeuppance at the end. For example, the main drug dealer, I think his name was Ben Jesse. Yeah, I was hoping that, somebody would take Ben Jesse out by the end of this, and he never gets his comeuppance. And the dirty cops who wind up killing not only Mr. T's brother-in-law, but several other people along the way, nothing happened to them. Now, I will say that J. Lance Gilmer, the author, he did write a second novel called Hell is Forever. And I haven't read this one yet. So I think it might be somewhat of a sequel, or maybe a possible sequel. So we'll see what happens, and I'll report back on that one. So that's our book, Hell Has No Exit by J. Lance Gilmer. You can find it. Check it out.